You know, they say you are what you eat.
They also say that food can be medicine.
And this is Chick to Chick. Flora, I learned several years ago the value of food when it comes to feeling well. We were put into a position with one of our daughters being really sick, and we learned a lot about the foods that you should eat and the foods that you really shouldn't eat. And although I didn't really have any health concerns and problems at the time, I was like, well, if I can do anything to help her and understand any of this process she's going through, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And food was the only thing that I could do. I learned so much about food. And, you and I have these conversations all the time
about
we do. How to eat, what not to eat, large partly because we want to feel well and good, right? We just want to feel good all of the time. But I don't think people really understand the value of food.
And it's very valuable. I'm coming into this from a different mindset, having been raised by Italian parents. Our diet was more Mediterranean. We did not have a lot of processed food in the house. We didn't have a lot of chips or cookies or anything like that because,
that's not how you ate.
That's not how we ate. And I do notice, though, that when I do eat chips and processed food, I don't feel great. So I do, and I always have known the value of food and really knowing that what you put on your plate does in fact have the power to heal. And so many diseases out there are linked to what we eat.
They absolutely are. And we want to be able to help people. So we do have someone who's going to provide some great information today.
Absolutely. Our guest today is Cameron Gilday. She is an integrative nutrition health coach. Cameron, thanks so much for being on this podcast with us today. Let's talk about that first thing. What you put on your plate has the power to heal. I know you advocate that. That's something that you believe in. What do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Food is medicine. Everything we eat makes up a cell in both our body and our brain. So when we are looking at our plate every single day, we have the power to lower inflammation to help heal our body. So when I say food is medicine, especially the colors in food. So those are called polyphenols, and they have antioxidants in them. And what those do is they lower inflammation. They help with our gut health, our hormone health, our blood sugar. So they are so powerful for our body.
Yeah, and your gut is directly related to your brain. So if your gut is a hot mess, your brain's a hot mess. So let's start with what's not good in your gut. What are the worst foods that people can eat?
So yes, gut health is so important. 80 to 90% of chronic disease starts in the gut. So when we look at
say that again, 80 to 90%?
Of chronic disease starts in the gut, and over 70% of the immune system resides in the gut. So when we are sick, essentially that impacts our gut health. And you're exactly right. Everything is connected to our gut. Our liver dumps into our gut and our hormones are connected. Our gut and our brain are connected. So if our gut is not where it should be, then we are not feeling well. And at the practice I work at, I always start with gut health for everyone, because if our gut's not working, or if we're not having regular bowel movements, whatever it is, then we're not going to feel well. It doesn't matter if every other, organ and system is working. If our gut's not, then we see a lot. But with food, unfortunately, the standard American diet is terrible for gut health. Fried food is not great. Refined food, refined sugar. We're seeing a lot of toxins too. So the toxin glyphosate, which is in Roundup, we grow wheat, corn, soy, and Roundup. We're seeing a lot of herbicides and pesticides. So all of those are also wreaking havoc on our gut. The standard American diet, what we know is bad for us, is also bad for our gut.
So you talked about fried food, and you talked about sugar. Why are those two things bad for the body, and what do they do to the body?
Yeah, so they're really, really, really really inflammatory for the body. So they're wreaking havoc on every organ and system in our body. They are spiking glucose, and we see, diabetes is a huge issue in this country, and that's because of all the refined sugars, the sugar alcohols. I tell everyone, you can look at a package and it can say vegan, keto, sugar-free, dairy-free, but you turn it around and you're seeing so many ingredients that you cannot pronounce, and it can be advertised as zero sugar. And people that are diabetic are going to gravitate towards that, but then you flip it over and you see sugar alcohols. Our body we'll have some sugar alcohols and it will spike insulin. It isn't great for us. So we have to be really mindful that we're eating whole, nutrient dense ingredients.
Yeah. And on top of that, when you have stress, which we all have, right, you've added to it. So now your stress eating, you're just compounding everything. Your cortisol levels are up, your inflammation is up, your immune system is in the trash can. It's awful. So how do we give ourselves the foods? What are those foods that help us and heal us? Yeah.
So it's not a one size fit all for everybody, but we know that our diet should be 80% plants. So plants have fiber in them, and fiber is what is really, really, really amazing for our gut health. Our microbes love fiber, and fiber is only in the plant-based foods. So the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts, seeds, the gluten-free grains, the legumes, all of those are medicine for our body. Some top foods that are really good for fighting inflammation. Wild caught salmon is one of the best. It has EPA and DHA, the omega-3 fatty acids, which are amazing for our gut health, our hormone health, our blood sugar. They can be found in walnuts, avocados, the small fish like herring and mackerel. Those are also amazing. Flax seeds are amazing for our blood sugar, amazing for cortisol, amazing for cholesterol, hormone health. Those have omega-3 fatty acids in them. They're plant-based. Dark leafy greens have components in them that are amazing for fighting cancer. So the cruciferous vegetables are my favorite, like broccoli and cauliflower, kale, red cabbage. They contain sulforaphane, which helps detox the liver. They contain something called DIM, which is also amazing for hormone health that detoxes the liver. Obviously, berries, we know the deep colors, the dark reds and blues, those are amazing. They're really high in antioxidants. One of my favorite things to incorporate in my diet is wild blueberries. They contain twice the amount of antioxidants as normal blueberries. I have to throw them in my smoothie. Those are amazing for the body, blood sugar, inflammation, our liver especially. Anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric and ginger. I actually have some turmeric right here. This color, this is a polyphenol. It's really amazing for our body. It's really anti-inflammatory. Ginger, of course, is really good for the immune system too. And green tea. So I know everyone's a really big coffee drinker, but we are seeing that coffee, especially when it's not organic, it has a lot of toxins in there that can be really inflammatory, and it's also not great on our gut health and our cortisol for stress. I recommend that if you are a coffee drinker, that's awesome. If you buy it organic, and if you have it with a meal or after food, with a meal, or after a meal, is really helpful. Does contain polyphenols, but I like green tea because it contains something called ECGC, which is an antioxidant. It's really healthy for us. It metabolizes a lot better than coffee, so we're not going to get the spike in cortisol.
So I have a question. You mentioned flaxseed. I take chia seeds every day.
And I put them, I do too. She literally does a spoonful in the water, boom,
down the hatch.
I do it a different way, but
it's the chia seeds. If people are... For people who are listening, remember the chia pet? It's the same thing. And I take 2 teaspoons of chia seeds every day. Is that a good thing to be taking?
Yeah, chia seeds are awesome. Chia seeds are really good for bowel movements. They're really good in omega-3 fatty acids. I like flax seeds. I just make sure when you are incorporating flax seeds, it's mealed, because that's really when we can absorb the EPA and DHA. When they're whole seeds, kind of go straight through us. But chia seeds are awesome. But flax seeds can contain something called ligands, which are really anti-cancerous. They're also a phytoestrogen. So let's say if you have too high estrogen or too low estrogen in the body. They help balance it out. So it's amazing for women and our hormones. Both are great, but I definitely prefer flax.
So while you're talking about those hormones, we've got that M word. Menopause.
Don't say it.
I just said it out loud.
Don't say it.
I just did.
I don't want to hear it.
Girl. Listen, I think a lot of women don't understand that what they're eating, what they're ingesting can exacerbate the symptoms with menopause. So can you share some insight on what women like us can do to help ourselves out?
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into hormones, and we have a lot of power over hormones. So stress is really important for women going through menopause, lowering cortisol, but food really impacts our hormones. So making sure that we're eating whole plant-based foods. Obviously, animal protein is amazing, but we want, 80% to be plant-based foods with those compounds I talked about, those polyphenols, the antioxidants. Flax is awesome for hormones. I just kind of talked about the ligands in it, sulforaphane and DIM in the cruciferous vegetables. So 1 to 2 cups a day of cruciferous vegetables is amazing for hormone health. Our liver metabolizes hormones. So it's really, really, really important that we are doing what we can with food to help detox the liver. And that's, the cruciferous vegetables are really awesome at doing that. Besides those, omega-3 fatty acids in those fish, that's really important for hormone health. Eating enough. So I see a lot of women that are on a restrictive diet, that our body needs calories. It needs fuel for all the organs to function properly. So making sure we're eating enough food, but we want it to be, nutrient dense and protein too. We want to make sure that we're having a balance of, the plant-based protein with the animal-based protein. And then drinking a lot of liquids. So I like lemon water, but making sure we're, having a good amount of hydration is really important.
Well, you brought up liquids and drinking, which made me think immediately alcohol.
So alcohol.
Yeah, these women that are constantly drinking wine. There's wine parties. There's just wine, rosé all day. It's just not good.
So why with wine, isn't all of that good for us?
Yeah. So with wine, unfortunately, it has so much sugar in it, and it also has a lot of toxins in there as well. So the grapes are being sprayed. They're grown in a lot of without herbicides and pesticides. So women think they're, making a healthy choice if they're going out and getting a glass of wine. But if it's not organic, you're drinking a lot of sugar. You're drinking, mycotoxins and toxins, and it is just not healthy. And I also kind of talked about the liver and how the liver is responsible for helping to metabolize hormones, and alcohol really stresses out the liver. So that's going to impact hormone health as well. And also if women are dealing with night sweats or hot flashes, that's really going to impact that, because when we're sleeping, our liver has to wake up at night and detox that alcohol. And that's going to, impact sleep. And we're going to wake up feeling restless. And then it's going to, have a domino effect later in the day. So yes, I don't recommend drinking alcohol that is not, not organic. So if you're going to do wine, try to shoot for the organic type.
Cameron, this was fantastic. Yes. Loved everything that you had to share with us. And your underlying message here is food is medicine, and
It is medicine.
It really is. Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much for joining us today. So I really loved her message. And as you know, I am not a fan of medicine. I don't like to take medicine. And I really think that I've managed to stay healthy because I try to eat healthy. I'm very aware of what I'm putting into my body. And, that doesn't mean I'm not going to cheat or have sugar here and there. But then if I do, then I'm really, really good for the next 6 or 7 days. It's what we call all the time, we talk about is conscious consumption.
Be aware of what you're putting in your mouth. I really hope people who are listening, even if they were slightly distracted, they go back and listen again with a pad of paper and a pen or a pencil to write all of this down. It was really great information. We're so happy that you were with us today. We also hope you'll go over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe. And until we are back to chirp about another topic.